Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us today for what will be our last NXT episode, and that is going to be NXT Takeover Boston. So we won't acquire our highest attendance here, but it's in a mandatory area. We'll 100% sell out the Garden, so again we'll get the 19,500 attendance. We're going to look for a good show. A lot of storylines have progressed over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Apart from the last week where I may have auto-booked the last couple of episodes just to get here. But hoping NXT at least can go out in a bang before we finish up at SummerSlam and move on to a new series basically. But more on that at the end of the episode. So without further ado, straight into the show. Hope you enjoyed this as NXT Takeover Boston of SummerSlam weekend. So we start off the show with the usual promos from Zack, Sabre Jr. and Tommaso Ciampa, the two guys that will be competing in our final NXT main event, as the NXT Championship is on the line. So they're obviously hyping up their chances of tonight's match. They've had a few back and forths. And just Sabre Jr. basically saying he's going to just rip Tommaso Ciampa limb from limb. We also hear from Triple H, who just thanks us for the NXT journey so far. Obviously our user character for NXT. And just says hopefully NXT can go out with a bang. So a 70 rated promo for that. The opening contest was for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and Takahashi got his opportunity alongside Ricochet and Isaiah Scott to make this the best match possible. It was about that had great wrestling and good heat, and we had Mustafa Ali take the win in 2017 when he pinged Ricochet with a reverse 450. So he made the second defence of the NXT Cruiserweight title. Fairly respectable, 76 for the opener, and that got the crowd hotter. So happy with that. Nice showcase of a very stacked Cruiserweight division, which Mustafa Ali reigns supreme in. And he cuts a promo just saying, I hope people around the world take notice of how good the Cruiserweight division is. He's tired of it getting overlooked. Yeah, basically that. No more to add to that. Santos Escobar cuts a promo. He's taking on John Morrison, and he just basically says, you know, it's all cool in that Morrison has reunited with Taya Valkyrie, but stuff like that shouldn't be taking up TV time. That TV time should be going to him, to Joaquin Wilde, to Raul Mendoza, and he's just going to beat him up and effectively just get him away. So more TV time for Santos Escobar. So 51 rated promo for them, and about was good. Decent reaction from the crowd. Had Santos Escobar defeat John Morrison in 14:25 using a foreign object. So if we're playing more long term, it would be a perfect match to put Escobar over. I think that would probably gain them into the 50 overness, but he picks up the win. A 74 rated match is still a solid result. Moving on, we have two former NXT champions going at it. So they're basically saying how their times in NXT have been great and how they're going to show they're the true heart and soul of NXT. Have we heard that before? So obviously Gable has been NXT champion, he's been NXT tag team champion. I think Gargano's won absolutely everything. So a 74 rated promo, and hopefully a spectacular match in the mid card. Never mind spectacular. Probably the best match I've had in NXT by an absolute country mile. And then about they had superb wrestling and great heat. Chad Gable defeats Johnny Gargano in 1804 by pinfall. This makes you wonder if this was on the main roster, if this was given more time and did a bit more overness because of being on the main roster, could have been a close call for what would have been a first 100 rated match. But delighted with that. Certainly over surpassed expectations. And yeah, Chad Gable, who's been really good for us ever since we brought him down to NXT, but the push for him was outlined from the start, winning the IC title on SmackDown literally in the first couple of days of the series, and he finishes it with a spectacular matchup. We then had the NXT Women's Tag Titles on the line, and opted for, people who have had a bit of a rivalry against Thunder Rosa. That's of course been Mia Yim and Toni Storm. Well, they come together and they defeat the Spitfire Warriors in 14:25 when Mia Yim pinned Kaden Carter, meaning that Mia Yim and Toni Storm end the series as NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. A 56 rated promo matchup, Mia Yim has a strong connection with the young female demographic, and yeah, just overall not too bad. I think long term these would have been 4 staples of the main roster, but yeah, sadly we won't get there. And next up we had a bout that had superb wrestling and great heat. Jungleboy got his opportunity at the North American Championship and he wins in 2002, defeating Sami Callihan following a botched interference from Jimmy Jacobs. A spectacular 81 rated matchup which could have probably been a lot higher if psychology was there, but a good win, and Jungleboy picks up the win. And because we're ending the series, why not just have Jimmy Jacobs get beat down by Sami Callihan? The Trinity has fallen apart because of Jacobs' mistake. Then another promo from Bayley. She's back in NXT and she was ready. This was going to be the big start of her build up to get her ready back for the main roster. And that was a 57 rated promo. So as you can see, it was a long way to go with her. And her matchup against Thunder Rosa was decent. And of course Bayley picks up the win in 18-17 with a Bayley to Bayley suplex, meaning she is the new NXT Women's Champion. So a 68 rated matchup. The plan was to give Bayley a long title run, maybe even up until WrestleMania, possibly even longer, just to try and establish her as one of the main people in NXT. So when she went to the main roster, she'd be up there with Sasha, Rhea, etc. So shipment never came to fruition, but a good win for Bayley nonetheless. We then have a tag team match. It was great wrestling and good heat. It was a team of Adam Brooks, who had turned heel to join his compatriot Murphy, and they defeated the Lucha Bros in 1949 when Murphy pinned Pentagon with a handful of tights. This was the first defence of the titles actually on the switch on NXT television, and it clicked well to have a rematch. The plan here was to have the rematch, the Lucha Bros would drop the titles, and the Lucha Bros were going to go to the main roster after SummerSlam. So that was one of the big things we missed. That tag division on SmackDown was only going to get more depth to it, but a good matchup regardless. In 82 is why it is what it is in the card, is co-main event. And yeah, here's your tag champs, Adam Brooks and Murphy. This leads us to our main event. The promo from Sabre Jr. is only a 66 and he just says, NXT, it's time to witness a master or a wizard at his work. And they finish up with a superb matchup as Tommaso defeats Sabre Jr. in 28-18 with Project Ciampa. First defence of the title was obviously too early to take it off him. It's a weird one. I feel Ciampa had the overness but maybe not the talent in game, and then vice versa. Sabre Jr.'s got the talent in game but not the overness. So that kind of mesh means we just get an 81, but still overall very happy with that. And we finish up. Ciampa celebrates and NXT goes off the air with a 70 rated segment. The show itself gets a spectacular 85. This is because of all the boosts. I maxed out everything to the ability that I could in NXT. Not quite the length of the main roster. You obviously need to be like a bigger company to get the full benefits of that. But an 85 is a good way, and just delighted with that. Most of those matches were always going to take place in this show anyway. I think there's maybe one or two that get wangled in. But it would have been quite cool to kind of book the falling apart of the Trinity, the Bayley title run, and the Lucha Bros on the main roster. So that's the end of NXT. Next week will be the end of the WWE save, so we'll have the SummerSlam show. So I'm going to go ahead and book that just now. But just a little an idea on the Impact series that we're starting. After speaking with Mark, just to confirm, I'll be waiting until there's a December mod out, just to make sure I don't have the likes of Kylie Ray, I don't have any of the Rascals, because obviously they're not with Impact anymore, just to make sure they don't end up signing somewhere weird. So if they do go to WWE at IRL at the time of recording, I don't know, but if they do go, then Realism. Even though the save straight away, Realism will go out the window. Anyone we can recruit, we'll go for it. Any relationships we can establish with AEW, ROH, New Japan, etc., we'll go for it. It's basically going to be back to square one, basically, back to the roots. I think we're not going to do like typing out the angles. I'll still explain stuff, but I feel like it's a good opportunity for a fresh restart. It's a good opportunity for a us against the world type thing, and I can compare it to a Football Manager save where I want to build something into something massive, so we can hopefully go head to head not just with WWE but AEW as well. Because even in previous Impact says, I don't think we've really got that progress to getting to compete with WWE, and I want to just keep booking and booking and booking, so it is effectively a three-way fight, so we can really see some proper wars, and so I can try and get more of the achievements. So stay tuned for that. Just a few other things, I'll probably turn off strict storylines, etc., because we will still be aiming to try and get that 100 rated match, etc. But another thing I'll say, a few things might be outdated because I haven't watched Impact for a long time, even though I watched TNA quite religiously back in the day. So if any of my portrayal of characters are a wee bit out of touch, that's why. But yeah, we'll quickly delve away from what Impact have right now. We'll have a mesh of that plus heavy fantasy booking. Just not as bad as me having no idea how to book Shinsuke Nakamura. But if you're an OG from TEW2020 and the start of 16, then you'll certainly know. But I say it's a shame that this comes to an end. I've absolutely loved it, but I just don't like WWE at the moment. And haven't watched Raw or SmackDown for the last 2 weeks. We'll be watching, obviously this is recorded the day of, we'll be watching Survivor Series, but that's just purely on the basis of this likely Undertaker final retirement. So we'll see what happens, if he's retired for good or if he is actually setting something up for WrestleMania. But I do think this is the end. So as always, cheers for watching, much appreciated. Hopefully you stay in for SummerSlam. I really do want to try and go all out of a spectacular show. Try and see if we get a 100 rated show with all the boosts, but no doubt our announcers will screw that. And yeah, just round it up and maybe discuss what would have been had the save carried on. But it's nothing to do with the save. The save's fine. It can get a bit tedious to book all the shows because it is a long time, but just pissed off with WWE, if I'm being honest, and how they're handling stuff. So yeah, just watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.